Pleasure of introducing a gentleman who is very, very well known in Northern California and particularly the Bay Area. He's also no stranger to the city of Martinez, where he spends an awful lot of his volunteer hours. His Wikipedia page says that he's an American public address announcer, and yep, he's got a Wikipedia page. That doesn't do him justice. For some 20 years, he was the arena voice for the Golden State Warriors. For a number of years, he was the stadium announcer for the Cal Bears. I've forgiven him for that. Perhaps more importantly, for over 30 years, he announced all of the football and basketball games at St. Mary's College, and that's his redemption. And now he is the voice of the Oakland Athletics. So it really is my pleasure to introduce you to Dick Callahan.
Well, let's face it, right off the bat, the Giants won the World Series. The A's would have won the World Series had we played it in July.
Right on.
But they don't do that. They play the darn thing somewhere between October and November. We'd also like to welcome the representatives of the Sons of Italy. Are the daughters here?
First and foremost, on behalf of the Sons of Italy, let me thank profusely and deeply and comprehensively Lara, her wonderful committee that put this program together. I know they put in some serious hours, and this is, as Joe would say, a class act. You guys deserve a big hand. Just very briefly, the Sons of Italy is the lead agency in relation to generating interest and raising funds for this most worthwhile project. We're one of the smallest fraternal organizations in Contra Costa County, but what we lack in numbers and size, we make up for in energy. Although I'm not really the poster boy, I shouldn't be saying that. Nonetheless, it's been a long run, and what I'd like to do tonight, very soon, is introduce the restoration team, the heart of this matter. The people that are putting that boat back together in a manner that's going to be probably a better boat quality-wise than when it left the shops at Chris Craft. The two gentlemen I'm going to introduce and have them come up momentarily, both they and the restoration team, the Carpenters, have a really, really solid and well-honed set of skills when it comes to woodworking, engineering, fitting, fabricating parts, and putting it together. They truly, the two gentlemen and the Carpenters, they really personify and exemplify the skills of the American craftsman. We, you, us, are lucky, fortunate to have them heading this project. I will call them to come up and introduce the Carpenters. Mr. Don Curtis, who is a master boat builder, restorer, and a judge at the Woody shows at Lake Tahoe. He has his shop in Benicia. And secondly, Mr. Rick Aldridge, who is an official with the local Carpenters Union 152 here in Martinez. I would like to have both those gentlemen come front and center.
5 years ago, I read a story in the Gazette that said the Sons of Italy has gathered $40,000 to restore Joe DiMaggio's boat, the Joltin Joe. They had bids to fix that boat up for, I think it was $100,000. There was a woman in my life, her name was Tina Davy. She married Ernie Collins. That woman wrote a book about the Italian fishermen of this community. She was down there, and I was down there with her and her daughter when that boat was put on a pedestal down at the marina. So when I read that story, it really hit me, and I thought, we're carpenters. We were building boats, that's how we got here, before we started building America. We got this gentleman next to me involved that knows everything, every screw about a Chris Craft and restoring a wooden boat. And I will never forget, before I hand this mic over to Don, I will never forget what he told me when I asked him, I know nothing about boats, how hard is it going to be to restore this boat? And he said, it can't be that hard. It's just a wooden box with a pointed end on it.
I'd like to thank everybody who has come out here to support this project. Looks like it's going to be completed this year, which my wife will be very happy about that. She's not, for 5 years of Saturdays, she hasn't complained at all, which I'm very grateful for. Supported the whole thing. It's been a real privilege to work on this boat. I've never done one of these boats. I've restored many antique boats, some of them belonging to famous people. But this is the first time I've worked with the community and with the Carpenters Union, which is fun because I haven't got to work any union projects since I was very young. And one of the things that I always tell people is these boats, these Chris Crafts, were built by the UAW. Now, how the United Auto Workers wound up building boats, I'm not exactly sure. But they were built with a lot of pride. They were very well made, and they were just an average boat for their time. And so it's very important to me that the community comes forward and supports this and restores these boats so that people in the future will be able to touch this. People that are just children now will touch this boat and see how things were done in America, you know, in 1947.
I believe John Went figured the hours at like 3,000 to 5,000 man hours that we have working on Saturdays, all volunteer. And John Went has been there every Saturday. We meet down at the Copper Skillet and break bread. Then we meet at the boat and we start working. So John is there every Saturday, along with a man that has been in this community for 82 years, Bill? Is it 82 years? 84 years. His father, I believe, was the person that raised the train bridge back in the day. I don't know how it happened. Don knows a lot of people in the industry. There was a boat just like this one that was going to be restored, so the person that owned it pulled out all of the upholstery, the original upholstery, and put it in his garage. Well, he kept the boat in the barn, and the barn burned down. So we got the original upholstery that goes into a 1947 Chris Craft that says Chris Craft on it. So when this boat is done, it's going to look exactly like it came off the showroom floor. And I have to say that it's truly a blessing, very humbling, and it's just a gracious part to be, not only in this community, but to be a part of this project, because it's going to live longer than anybody in this room once we restore it. It's going to reach from coast to coast, because it's about baseball, where Joe DiMaggio was born. But more importantly, the heritage of this community and the fishing industry from the Italians that used to bring salmon in. And there were 3 canneries here that canned salmon. So it's just a true blessing.
Lara DeLaney, who's going to talk about the Hometown Hero Project. One of whom, the Hometown Hero, is Lara.
We all know that our hometown hero is Joe DiMaggio. And let's give it up for his 100th birthday. We are so blessed to be in our hometown, one of America's greatest icons. And we are blessed to have the Carpenters here, the Sons of Italy, working on this fantastic project to restore this beautiful piece of history. And we want to do honor to that. We want to do honor to Joe DiMaggio and his legacy by creating a Joe DiMaggio Museum. What do you think about that idea, folks? Ultimately a Joe DiMaggio Museum, but along the way we need to take a few steps. We're going to do a few other things to honor Joe while we work toward that museum. We'd like to do an oral history project to capture all the stories that everybody has, their recollections of Joe. And we'd like to get those all on tape and have that in the museum someday for people to go and listen to and enjoy. We'd like to develop a walking tour so people can get off the train station at the Amtrak and come on into Martinez and see the place where Joe DiMaggio was born, and see the place where he had Christmas with Marilyn Monroe before they got married, and go see the mural that we have of Joe DiMaggio. Go visit the Joe DiMaggio ball fields and see the statue that we'd like to have there one day too. Wouldn't that be fantastic for this community? We need to start with We'd like to do all of these things and have you all help us in what we're calling the Hometown Hero Project. So if you're interested in being any part of this, because we're going to need a lot of people involved, we're going to need to form a lot of committees, not just this party planning committee, but lots of others to help us build that museum and help all these other projects come along. So please join us.